There's a kind of loneliness that never announces itself. It doesn't cry, or shout, or ask for help. It just sits quietly in the corner of your life, polite, invisible, and constant. You wake up, scroll through messages, smile at a few faces, go to work, laugh when you're supposed to. From the outside, everything looks fine. But inside, something feels missing. Not broken, just absent. Like a song that used to mean something, but now plays in the background and no one listens anymore. This is the kind of loneliness that hides behind "I'm just busy" or "I'm fine." It wears normalcy like armor. It makes you laugh a little louder so no one asks questions. And yet, when the day ends and the world quiets down, there's that familiar ache again, soft but heavy. It's not about being alone. It's about feeling unseen even when surrounded. About realizing that if you disappeared for a while, the world might not notice until much later. It's the emptiness that comes not from isolation, but from invisibility. We don't talk about this kind of loneliness because it doesn't fit the picture of sadness we're used to. But it's real, it's silent, and it changes you in ways you don't even realize: the way you smile, the way you hold yourself, the way you stop reaching out. This is the quiet kind of loneliness. There's a quiet moment that sneaks up on you when you're surrounded by people, yet suddenly feel the distance between every heartbeat. You laugh at the right time, nod at the right stories, but a small voice inside whispers, "None of them really know me." It's a strange kind of ache. Not sharp, but hollow, like standing in a crowded room and realizing no one is looking in your direction. You start to wonder when it happened. When the conversations turned shallow, when your words became smaller, safer, easier to swallow. You've shared pieces of yourself before, your hopes, your fears, but they slipped through fingers that didn't know how to hold them. So you learned to edit your truth, one sentence at a time, until your voice fit the space people gave you. And in that silence, something inside you began to disappear. This isn't about being ignored. It's about being half seen, noticed, but not understood. And that hurts in a way few people talk about. Because connection isn't built on company, it's built on being known. And when no one really knows you, the world starts to feel blurred, like you're watching your own life through glass. That's the moment loneliness stops being about others and quietly becomes about you. Have you ever felt that moment when you were surrounded, yet unseen? Share one memory in the comments. You might be surprised how many people have felt the same. It never happens all at once. There isn't a single day you wake up and decide to stop trying. It's quieter than that, slower. Like colours fading from a photograph, left too long in the sun. At first, you still reach out. You send the message. You suggest the coffee. You wait for the reply that never really comes. And when it does, it feels distant, polite, but not present. So you start to pull back, just a little. You tell yourself people are busy, that you shouldn't take it personally. But the truth is, each unanswered moment leaves a small bruise. And those bruises add up. You begin to protect yourself, the only way you know how, by expecting less. By speaking less. By building small walls no one can see. It's not that you stop caring. It's that caring starts to hurt. So you learn the art of retreat slowly, gently, until solitude feels safer than trying again. Psychologists call it learned helplessness. But in real life, it just feels like exhaustion, emotional gravity pulling you inward. And before you know it, connection becomes a memory. You start saying, "I prefer being alone," but deep down, what you really mean is, "It's easier this way." Loneliness doesn't just live in your thoughts, it settles in your body. You feel it before you understand it. The heaviness in your chest that comes out of nowhere. The restless sleep. The mornings that already feel tired before they begin. When connection fades, your body starts to panic quietly. It doesn't know the difference between emotional isolation and danger. To the brain, being cut off from others once meant death. The tribe was safety, and silence meant threat. So when you go too long without feeling close to anyone, your nervous system sounds an alarm you can't hear. Your heart beats faster. Cortisol seeps into your bloodstream. Your body becomes alert, searching for danger that isn't there. That's why loneliness hurts in ways words can't describe. It's not just sadness, it's survival instinct misfiring. Your body is trying to protect you from something invisible. And maybe that's the hardest part. You can look calm on the outside, but inside, your body is fighting for belonging. Every cell is waiting for a signal that says, you're safe here. Until then, even the quiet feels heavy. Because the truth is, loneliness isn't only in your mind. It lives under your skin, beating softly, asking to be felt. When you've been alone for too long, something changes inside your head. Your thoughts start to echo. At first, it's harmless, a bit of overthinking before bed, a replay of something you said years ago. But slowly, the echoes get louder. You begin to live more in your mind than in the world around you. It's like walking into a room filled with mirrors. Everywhere you turn, you see only reflections of your own thoughts. They argue, comfort, blame, and defend all at once. You try to quiet them, but silence only gives them space to grow. The mind, desperate for company, becomes its own crowd. You start analyzing everything. Every text, every glance, every word left hanging in the air. You wonder what people meant, what you could have done differently, what's wrong with you. You think about old conversations until they lose their shape, replaying them like worn-out film reels. Psychologists call it rumination, when the mind loops the same worries, searching for an answer that never comes. But in truth, it feels more like being trapped inside your own weather. Some days, it's fog. Other days, it's thunder. And sometimes, it's just grey, endless, and heavy. The cruel part is, your mind believes it's keeping you safe. It builds scenarios, rehearses pain, tries to predict rejection before it happens. But all it really does is lock you deeper inside yourself. Over time, the outside world feels distant, like a place you once belonged but forgot how to reach. Your thoughts become the walls of your house, your fears become the furniture. And the longer you stay there, the more you forget what fresh air even feels like. At first, solitude feels like peace. It's quiet, predictable, safe. No expectations, no disappointments, just you and the calm hum of your own company. You start to believe this is healing, and maybe for a while it is. But somewhere along the way, the silence shifts. It stops being soft. It starts to echo. You realize you're no longer resting, you're hiding. You tell yourself you're protecting your peace, but deep down, you're protecting yourself from being hurt again. Chosen solitude gives you space to breathe. Forced solitude takes your breath away. The line between the two is so thin, you don't see it until it's behind you. Days blur. You forget how to reach out, not because you don't care, but because the thought of being misunderstood feels heavier than the loneliness itself. You build routines around your absence. Coffee for one, dinner for one, quiet weekends that stretch too long. It's comfortable, yes, but also empty. And one day, you look around and realize your safe place has become a cage. A beautifully decorated one, but still a cage. That's when solitude hardens into exile. You haven't chosen the silence anymore, it's chosen you. And beneath its calm surface, a small voice whispers, maybe it's time to come back. There's something subtle that disappears when we lose connection, the mirror. Not the one on the wall, but the one made of other people's eyes. The quiet reflections that remind you who you are, that soften your self-doubt, that say, "I see you." When no one's around to hold that mirror, you start to blur. You forget the sound of your own laughter when someone truly gets you. You forget how your face lights up when you feel understood. Without those small reflections, identity begins to drift, like fog losing its shape in the morning light. Friendship isn't just company. It's feedback, warmth, gravity. It grounds you in the shared reality of being known. When it's gone, the world starts to feel slightly off balance, like walking through a house where all the pictures have been turned around. The human mind needs reflection to stay whole. When you look into another's kindness and see yourself mirrored there, your sense of worth quietly repairs itself. But when that mirror is missing, you start filling in the gaps with your fears. You assume the worst. You see rejection where there's only silence. And slowly, you begin to believe the distorted image your loneliness paints. That's why friendships matter more than conversation. They are the mirrors that return you to yourself. They remind you that your voice still matters, that your presence still leaves an imprint. Because without someone to reflect your light back at you, even the brightest soul can start to feel dim. And in that dimness, you don't just lose others. You start to lose your own reflection. Loneliness in adulthood rarely begins in adulthood. It often starts quietly, years earlier, in rooms where a child's voice went unheard. Maybe you were the one who stayed quiet at the dinner table, who learned that sharing feelings made people uncomfortable. Maybe you were praised for being independent, when in truth, you just stopped expecting comfort. Children don't stop needing love. They just learn how to need it silently. And that silence grows up with you. It becomes the way you protect yourself by asking for nothing. Psychologists call them attachment wounds. The invisible scars formed when connection felt unsafe, unpredictable, or one-sided. So, as an adult, even when someone reaches out, a part of you hesitates. You want to trust them, but your body remembers what it felt like when trust was broken. You tell yourself you prefer to be alone, but sometimes solitude is just self-defense disguised as peace. Every time you pull away from closeness, you're not rejecting people, you're replaying an old survival pattern. Understanding this doesn't erase the ache, but it gives it shape. It reminds you that loneliness isn't proof you're unlovable. It's proof that your heart once tried to love and learned too early that it wasn't safe. Healing begins when you stop blaming yourself for the ways you learned to survive. Learning to connect again doesn't happen all at once. It starts small, almost invisible. A smile you return instead of looking away. A message you answer without overthinking. A short conversation you let linger just a little longer than usual. These moments may feel tiny, but they are how the heart remembers. Because connection isn't about doing something grand. It's about allowing life to touch you again. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be open enough for something real to reach you. Start where you are. Say yes when someone invites you out, even if your mind whispers excuses. Let yourself laugh, even if it feels rusty. It's okay if your voice shakes. It's okay if your walls don't come down all at once. Healing doesn't come from finding the perfect people. It comes from giving the world a chance to meet the real you. The one who still hopes quietly beneath all that guarded calm. And maybe one day, you'll look up during a simple conversation and realize you're not watching your words anymore. You're just being. That's how reconnection begins. Not in fireworks, but in the soft, ordinary moments. when you finally let yourself be seen again. Loneliness can feel endless, like winter that refuses to leave. But even winter has a purpose. It slows the world down so that new life can take root beneath the cold. Maybe that's what loneliness has been doing for you all along, teaching you how to listen, how to feel, how to find warmth inside yourself. Because loneliness isn't a punishment. It's preparation. Every quiet night, every unanswered text, every moment you thought you were forgotten was shaping you into someone who could recognize real connection when it finally arrived. And when it does, it won't feel like fireworks or noise. It'll feel calm, familiar, like exhaling after holding your breath for too long, like finding someone whose silence sounds just like yours. So, if you're in that winter right now, please know it won't last forever. Spring always finds its way back. And when it does, you'll see that solitude didn't break you. It refined you. It made space for the kind of friendship that feels like home. If these words spoke to you, share what part resonated most in the comments. Your story might be the mirror someone else needs tonight. And if you'd like to keep walking this path of healing together, subscribe to this channel. Here, you are not alone. Here, we learn to be seen again.